drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Take your time and get into the chat and get comfortable so we can find a way to make ourselves a little bit smarter by the end of the day. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I am sitting here trying to figure out how to. I want to text out everybody, let them know that we're live. If you guys want to get a text alert when we go live, just text the word Boyce, Boyce, text Boyce to 31996, and you will get a text alert when I go live. Last night we were talking a little bit about one controversial topic that had to do with Dave Chappelle and what was going on with his stand-up special, which I think was amazing. And today I saw something that really got my attention involving another interesting guy by the name of Jay-Z. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send out a text alert to let the family know that we're live. And again, if you want to get text alerts, just text Boyce to 31996. Take 1 second, hit the thumbs up button while I do this. I'm gonna send the note out real quick. Okay. All right. So here's what happened. I'm sort of floating through Twitter, and I see someone that shared, some panel Jay-Z was on at some university. And I'm gonna tell you, things always get real weird when we have Black people that are invited to speak in front of these white liberals, because I personally think Black people have to take the time to figure out who we are and figure out what our opinions are on certain topics, rather than always letting white liberals shape our narrative for us. I think that's one of the big dividers in the community that has occurred, is that because it pays, it's financially lucrative to be down with white liberals. You get a lot of Black people saying a bunch of shit that don't make no damn sense. And and the reason we know it doesn't make any sense is because your community is not getting better. Your community is not improving. Your community sitting in the same spot. Y'all running in place. Y'all been running in place, since the 60s, and you don't know why. Well, the reason is because every time you say, well, God, we're running in place, how do we move forward? Somebody says, well, what you got to do is you got to register to vote. You got to vote for the Democrats. That's what's going to get you ahead. It's voting for the Democrats because your ancestors died for you to vote for the Democrats. And I'm just not that stupid. It doesn't mean that I think voting is stupid. It means that I'm not stupid enough that you can make an argument to me that doesn't make any sense, and I'm going to act like it makes sense. I'm not stupid enough that you can tell me that something's going to work when the evidence and the data shows that it does not work. I'm just not stupid enough to believe that if I go vote for, Elizabeth Warren or whatever white person the Democrats put in front of us, or a Black person, maybe they'll get Kamala Harris or somebody. I'm not stupid enough to believe that voting for this person is going to mean one day that within the next 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, I'm going to go through, the hoods in Southside Chicago, and all those Black males who are unemployed are going to have opportunities, or that all these Black families that have been destroyed are going to be better, or that all the Black wealth that's been stolen is going to be retrieved, or that all the Black children that are not being educated are suddenly going to be educated. I just don't believe that. Does that mean that I think you're stupid for voting? I'm not saying that you're stupid for voting. That would be like that'd be like you telling me that I'm stupid for drinking orange juice. Like, I can drink my orange juice. It's my right? It's good. But I'd be dumb if I told you that drinking this orange juice is going to make the Black community better overnight. That if you keep drinking your orange juice and eat your vegetables, then your family is going to get better, your community is going to get better, and that's just not true. So I come into that conversation with Jay-Z with that context. One that I reiterate to you guys. This is why I always say, before I begin, I always say this is the platform for intelligent Black people, because you have to be open-minded. And one thing about open-mindedness, and again, remember, I'm a mathematician, as a college professor and scholar, one thing you're not allowed to do is go around repeating a bunch of dumb shit and act like it's accurate, or get angry because somebody challenged your ideas and said, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't add up. You keep telling us 2 + 2 is 7, but you can't prove that. There's no proof of that, right? So that makes me inconsistent with the world. So, the key idea is that if you're looking for a solution to the problem, you got to focus on the solution. You can't focus on on these actions that this hand waving, all these things that you've been doing. But then you've been doing it just because everybody else is doing it. You do it because somebody on TV told you to do it. You've been doing it because supposedly your ancestors died for you to do it, which they did not die for us to vote, by the way. They died for us to be free. They did not die for us to become Democrats. Let's make sure we're clear about that. I don't think the ancestors said, well, I'm gonna go out here and get lynched so that black people can go and vote for, Hillary Clinton. Like I want black Hillary Clinton is the savior, Lord Jesus. Like come on, man. Like, black people ain't that stupid, and so with that said, I think that we analyze a lot of issues in the wrong way. And as a person who's an economics expert, I realize that I cannot talk about economic development in the black community or wealth building in the black community without talking about the factors that affect wealth building. You cannot talk about wealth building in the community without talking about family. You can't. Why? Well, because if you go around the world, you go to Africa, Asia, Latin America, you will find that wealth and family are deeply connected. The ability to maintain a strong family is a critical dimension to your wealth building capacity. The ability to maintain relationships is critical to your wealth building capacity. So you cannot talk about wealth building without talking about relationships. So that's why I talk about relationships. For those who don't get it and don't understand why I might talk about politics, well, because wealth building is linked to your understanding of the political infrastructure in the country in which you live. So the reason I talk about all these other factors that affect the black community is because they all link back to black quality of life. They all link back to whether or not your babies get to eat every day. They all link back to whether or not you can afford to buy that house. They all link back to whether or not you're feeling depressed because you hate your job. They all link back to whether or not you're pissed off because you still can't pay the student loans from that white university that charge you $200,000 for a fucking piece of paper. They all link back to whether or not you're feeling like a man because your woman is disrespecting you because you can't go out here and take care of yourself. They all link back to life. They all link back to love. They all link back to relationships. They all link back to socio-economic and political issues. They all are connected, right? So basically, I became interested in what Jay-Z had to say about single parenthood because I saw people criticizing what he had to say. Now, I'm not a person who is a Jay-Z stan. I'm not. I think Jay-Z is a great rapper. And that's it. I don't feel comfortable with his situation with the NFL, but I don't feel uncomfortable with it. I feel comfortable with him and Cap, and I feel uncomfortable with both of them. It's like a yin yang. Yin yang is black and white. When I look at Kaepernick, when I look at Jay-Z, I see things I like. I see things I don't like. And that's for both of them. I see a couple guys that are chasing the bag, trying to get their money, and one guy got the money before the other one did. And the other one felt like he was a traitor. And he's like, no, you're the sellout, sir. No, you, sir, are the sellout. You're the sellout. You're the sellout. When really, both of you could be accused of selling out, but both of you also did something noble, right? So, it's not like you're complete sellouts. They didn't sell everything out. They just sold some of the things out, right? So again, I'm not a Jay-Z. When you ask me about Jay-Z, I'm just like, well, Jay-Z is he's a force. He's a guy that came out of the projects and somehow rose to the top of hip hop, made some interesting strategic moves, runs a great business. But he ain't perfect. Stop. Don't ever think he's perfect because he ain't perfect. Ain't nobody perfect, right? So I saw where Jay-Z was being criticized heavily for a comment he made about single parenthood. And they were talking, it was some panel, one of these white people panels. White liberals love to have panels where they get black people together to talk about white liberal solutions to black problems. Like they love to imperialize your discussions. They love to choose which black people are going to get on TV, which black people are going to be the black leaders. So unfortunately for people like Van Jones, Van was selected by white people. I don't think most of the people I know that are black, really doing the black thing, are not going to pick Van Jones ahead of certain other people. Like they wouldn't pick him ahead of like Farrakhan or something, right? If you could do a poll amongst black people, who do you respect more? Van Jones or Louis Farrakhan, right? It won't be a contest. Like nobody picked Angela Rye except some white guy who runs CNN and they put her on TV enough. And they're like, oh, if we put her on TV enough, she'll become a black leader because again, you don't have leadership in the community all the time. You have managers. A leader is a person that inspires you to do better, inspires you to be free, inspires you to be yourself, inspires you to fight the powers that constrain you. A manager is somebody that's there to control you, corral you, get you to go a specific direction, right? So the manager's jobs If you listen carefully to the rhetoric of say, and it's not even a diss on Van Jones. If I meet him, he probably think I dissed him, but I'm not dissing him. It's just a fact. I don't think Van can argue against this. I think he's a decent black man, but the problem is you've been indoctrinated into the wrong solution. That's all it is. It doesn't mean I think he's stupid. I just think he's been indoctrinated into the wrong solution. So if you listen to Van, or you listen to what's her name, Angela Rye, or you listen to some of the people on TV, what they'll say is, I want to help black people. In order to help black people, I need to get all the black people to show up to the polls. And of course, when they show up to the polls, they're all going to vote for the Democrats. So I'm going to deliver black people to the Democrats, because then I'm doing what's best for the Democrats, and I'm doing what's best for the black community. And also I'm doing what's best for myself. Because if I can show that I can deliver black people to the Democrats, then I get rewarded. I get, $30,000 speaking engagements at big white universities that love to hear black people to talk about how much in crisis we are and how sad we are that white people won't be nicer to us. And it's nice. It's a nice life. I've seen that life up close. Where you imagine this. I mean, imagine literally if every week, 3 times a week, people are calling you, blowing up your phone, offering to pay you $25,000 to speak at their campus. Like seriously, like that's the hustle. That's the game. And then on top of that, you get a book deal. Maybe you get a $500,000 advance on the book deal, from some white-owned publisher that says, hey, you're great. We want you to write a book about whatever the fuck, right? And then the other thing is, TV. You get to be on TV, right? So the TV networks pick you up. So that's their hustle, and that's fine that that's their hustle. But what I want you to do is kind of ask yourself at the end of the day, does that work for you? Like, does that get you as a community where you need to be? Does that elevate the masses in a meaningful way? Baltimore is a shit city in certain parts of that city, right? We had that conversation about the infestation of Baltimore. Everybody argued over whether it was offensive for Trump to say that Baltimore was infested, even though Elijah Cummings, who he was arguing with, had said the same damn thing 20 years ago. So again, that shows part of the hypocrisy right there. If Elijah Cummings says it, it's okay. If Trump says it, it's wrong. That gets to my other point that you cannot argue effectively in favor of the black community if your rule is, well, if the Republicans agree with it, then we're going to disagree with it, right? If you say the sky's blue, then I can say you're wrong because a Republican also said the sky was blue, which means that makes you a MAGA supporter. That makes you a right winger. That makes you a whatever, right? And it's like, no, maybe the sky really is motherfucking blue, and maybe we all see the same shit. Right. So maybe Elijah Cummings saw that Baltimore was infested, which he used those words. Go look it up in 1999. Trump saw that Baltimore was infested. He used those words with a different motivation, mind you. We know this. We know Trump is Trump. He ain't going to change. Right. And then everybody spent so much time arguing over whether or not it was offensive to say that Baltimore was infested that nobody actually went back and said, well, how the hell are we going to fix Baltimore? I don't give a damn if you tell me, if my enemy tells me, your children are starving to death. And I say, how dare you, motherfucker, talk about my children? You ain't got no right to talk about my goddamn kids. My kids are fine. What's wrong with you? And my kids sit over there, Daddy, we hungry. We dying. Hey, see, look at your kids over there. They started. You're offensive, sir. You're talking about my kids. And then one of my friends comes up and says, hey, man, hey, boy, start to your kids over there hungry, man. I'm like, oh, you must be one of the enemies. You must be a right winger. You must be a MAGA lover because my enemy said the same thing as you said. So because you agree with my enemy, and my enemy agrees with you, that makes you an enemy too, right? And then all along, the whole time, my kids are starving to death. They're like dying because I'm so busy focusing on the aesthetics of it all that I'm not getting to the root of the situation, which says my kids need food. That's what I saw when I saw Trump and Elijah Cummings arguing over whether it was offensive for Trump to say Baltimore was infested. You ain't got to spend more than 5 minutes in the worst hoods in Baltimore to know we got a problem. Something's wrong here. So there's an issue, right? Now, here's the thing. Here's where we all of us here are smarter than these idiot politicians, these dumb people on TV. If any of you, a lot of y'all, I don't know if you from Baltimore or somewhere near, or you're familiar with Baltimore. If you are, stand up, speak up for your city and for your hood, because Baltimore deserves better than this. I'm using Baltimore as an example, but I could say the same thing about Compton. I could say the same thing about certain parts of New York. I could say the same thing about Philly, the parts of Philly that are struggling. I can say the same thing about South Side and West Chicago, right? Same damn thing. So let me ask you this question. Do you think that if somebody just said, you know what, let's solve the problem in Baltimore. Let's stop worrying about who gets the credit, who gets the blame, who said what. We know that there's an issue. We're going to get $1 billion and we're going to take it to Baltimore. No strings attached. And we're gonna go to the hood of Baltimore. We got some bright spots in Baltimore. We got people in Baltimore running in schools that are excellent schools that are educating Black children at an extremely high level. We have a Black Wall Street in Baltimore. I don't know if y'all know that. They got a little area. They showed me. They gave me a tour. My homeboy down there, he's a barber. I can't. The brother's name is not coming to me right now. I'm so mad. I wish his name would come to me, but I love this guy. I have so much respect for him. It's one of those people, you see somebody once a year, but when you see him, you just love him. But anyway, so this brother took me on a tour of Baltimore, and he showed me where they have a whole Black Wall Street. They have a whole section of Black businesses where they are really doing amazing things there. And so here's the thing. If you have a virus, an infection, remember they said Baltimore was infested or infected or whatever, right? If you have an infestation or a virus or an infection, and you have, the viruses or the infections everywhere, but you find a little bit of antidote, like a doctor says in a lab, I created the antidote to the infection, right? And we only got 2 ounces of it. Well, what do you do? What do you do if you want to kill the infection? You take that little bit of antidote and you multiply. You say, okay, let's get this to the lab immediately. We're going to put it in the factory and we're going to produce 50,000 gallons a day so that we can get this out here so we can cure everybody, right? So in Baltimore, where you have an infestation, you have certain people that have found the antidote. You have certain people that have figured out how to educate a child on, a few dollars a day at an effective level. You have people that have figured out how to build strong businesses. You have people that have figured out how to restore a community. So why not go and take $1 billion? And again, this is going back to my question. If I gave you $1 billion and said, I want you to find the most righteous, most respected, most honorable leaders in that community, and we're going to give them all a piece of this $1 billion to implement their plan. Do you think that Baltimore would get better overnight? Do you think that, yes or no? Do you think Baltimore would improve overnight? It absolutely would. It absolutely would. So when you have simple solutions like that and nobody is implementing them, then that tells you that these people are not here to solve problems. These people are here they're basically here to pimp the problem. They're here to, now would all of Baltimore change? No, all of it wouldn't change, but there will be certain hoods that will get better. There are people there that know what's wrong with Baltimore. There are people that in South Chicago that can say, oh yeah, well, we got, all these dudes on the corner. You give me money, I can create jobs for them. I can create opportunities for them. If we had, if somebody invested billions of dollars into Black businesses on the South Side of Chicago and created jobs, then you could increase the Black unemployment rate tremendously. Now, some people keep saying, no, it wouldn't. I think it would. I think it would. I think that if you took the resources directly to the people who know how to solve the problem, you would be able to solve the problem. There are people that know how to solve the problem. They just can't get the resources. I went to a school in Chicago called Freedom Home Academy International, where they are running on a shoestring budget. They don't have nearly as much money as Chicago public schools, but they educate children at a level where I saw 8-year-olds who sounded like they were in college. I went to Muhammad University of Islam and spoke, and those 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds were asking me questions that graduate students would normally ask me. But do you think that they're going to give, $100 million to the Nation of Islam to replicate their school model all throughout Chicago? No, they're not. They're going to give that money to some bullshit programs that are going to make white people rich and leave Black people in poverty. That's because they make money from watching you struggle. They make money from watching your community decay, because then they can feed you false hope and let you keep thinking that voting is going to fix it. And then you next thing you know, 30 years later, you got the same damn problems that you had before. So now some people say the mindsets of the people have to change first. That's true, but I'm gonna tell you like this: I believe in Black people, and I know plenty of Black people whose mindsets are already ready. Like, for example, do you think that if they gave me $1 billion to implement my economic model throughout the United States, you don't think I could transform a big chunk of the Black community? If I had $1 billion, and not that I would ask money for money from the government, it comes with too many strings attached. But do you think about this? Our budget, we pay Black people probably over $1 million a year, so we do good for an independent company. I'm very proud of that. But imagine if I had $100 million a year. Do you think that what I do would not, that if it were multiplied by 1,000, that it would not have an impact on Black people everywhere? You do not think that I can't go build economic centers and train Black people on how to be better than white people at economic management and building within a 2-3 month period? I've already done it. I've already done it with very little money. Imagine if I had $1 billion to do it. God, it'd be a piece of cake. I could come in and shape up your whole hood in a minute. I'd be like, okay, we need 3 schools. These are the teachers. This is going to be the curriculum. Fuck all the dumb shit. We're overhauling the entire curriculum. We're going to focus on these areas to make sure our kids are properly educated. One, every child is going to read. They're all going to read every day, so they can learn how to consume information. They're going to write on a consistent basis so they can communicate ideas. They're going to also learn mathematics at a high level so that when they do business, nobody rips them off. Then we're going to focus on business. We're going to make sure every child by the age of 12 knows the pillars of wealth. They're all going to know how to invest in the stock market. They're all going to know how to start businesses, and they're all going to know how to buy real estate. And then also we're going to have a strong Black history curriculum so that they know how great ancient Egypt was and that they come from greatness. And we're going to expect greatness from them as part of their rites of passage. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure each child, when they come together with a group of other young children, they come up with their business idea, that we incubate that and we prepare them to sell their product all throughout the world. And then we're going to fund them. We're going to give each of these children $50,000 to get the business off the ground. And we're going to manage the money. We're going to grow this money. And then that becomes the financial fuel that will sustain the school long term. I already know exactly what I would do if I had $100 million budget a year. But people with the ideas don't get the money. It's the people that are doing what white people want them to do. Right. So ultimately, the people that get the resources are the ones who don't really actually care about the problem, or don't know how to solve the problem, or don't have the will, the political will to solve the problem. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, this political correctness thing is crippling you. It's really crippling you. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe. Just in case you're interested in what we're doing, we actually have a really great Black business school for children. We tell Black families, one of our solutions is we believe that if you want your kid to get ahead in the money game, put them in business school now. Put them in business school while they're 7, instead of going to football camp and all that other stuff. They can do that after. But make sure the Black boys especially know how to make their own money so they don't end up as broken Black men out here begging a white man for a job. So if you're interested, feel free to go to theblackbusinessschool.com. We have enrollment specialists right there that can talk to you about your wealth plan. 80% of our students don't have to pay anything. Some of our students pay, and when they do pay, most of the programs cost you less per day than a Popeye's chicken sandwich. So for people who really want a solution that's affordable to everyone, the Black Business School is our revolutionary model for Black education that's better than any college, university you've ever gone to, or any HBCU. In fact, that's our guarantee. If you don't feel that it's better than any university you've ever gone to, then we will give you your money back. How do we know how to do this? Well, because I was a college professor for 25 years and I saw how much waste there was. I saw how much people were really just taking people's money, putting Black people in debt for life. I saw the statistics that that half of all Black college graduates can't afford to repay their student loans, and all of them went $100,000 in debt, hoping for a better life. And then instead of getting a better life, you got something different. So what I'm saying to you is that a different solution is required. And I thought about this system from top to bottom. I've been through this system all the way through. Remember, I was at the top of the class. I got all the degrees. I taught all the students. I saw everything. I know what it's like to make millions of dollars. I know what it's like to be broke. So I've seen it from top to bottom, all the way across. I know what it's like to be around Black people. I know what it's like to be around white people. And I see the BS. I see the chaos. And so that's where the Black Business School comes from. Our heart and soul's in it. We have PhDs, we have lawyers, we have business owners, we have multimillionaires. We had a billionaire, Mike Roberts, that came through and was basically breaking down how you have to change your thinking if you ever want to build anything. Like literally, we have the most amazing people that come through, and so it's better than any university you'll ever attend. I guarantee you that much. So I'm not saying don't go to those other places. If you want to go spend $40,000 a year to go to school, that's fine. But we're not going to charge you that much, and we'll give you something better. So feel free to check it out. It's theblackbusinessschool.com, theblackbusinessschool.com. All right. So here's the other thing about the Jay-Z thing. And I know I went, y'all know how I do. I talk about things in a way that is where I take it kind of around the world, and basically it ends up being kind of a broader discussion, right? I didn't just jump in and give a 5-minute synopsis of what I think about Jay-Z's comment. And so this channel is not for people with short attention spans. It's for people that want to flesh out the issue. One thing I'll say about the Jay-Z comment is, and just to be specific, Jay-Z basically was talking about single parenthood and how a lot of boys go out into the world and they end up in confrontations with police because in their household, they've been the man of the house. In their household, they've been taught that their decision is final. In their household, they've been taught to kind of believe that, that nobody can tell me what to do. And so effectively what happens is they get out in the world and they bump into a cop, and a cop is like, well, I need you to put your hands up. And he's like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. Right. And so what effectively occurs, unfortunately, for a lot of these poor boys is that becomes the first time that they run into authority that can actually dominate them. A lot of boys, males, unfortunately, and this is shown throughout the animal kingdom, males typically need to have another male that they respect, that they will actually submit to. If they don't, they just, a lot of males just won't submit to their mother when the testosterone hits and your son is 16 years old and he's taller than you and he knows that you're going to just nag, but he can still do what he wants. That's going to happen. Like you ever seen that where your 17-year-old son, like you tell him, get up and clean your room, and he don't even move. Because he ain't, a lot of times because he ain't scared of you. He's annoyed. You can annoy him to death, but you can't. It's not like a father coming in saying, get your ass up right now, with a bass in his voice. Get your ass up right now. It's going to be a problem. Right. Then boys respond to that. That's why boys respond to like things like football coaches and stuff like that. There's a dominance factor that does occur, and you may not like it. It may seem like, oh, it shouldn't be that way. But that's how it occurs actually throughout the entire animal kingdom. Did you know that when they had elephants on a wildlife reserve, when the teenage elephants did not have fathers, the teenage elephants did not respond to authority. They reacted very differently than they did if they'd had a father. When they had fathers around, the male elephants were more controlled and contained. But when they didn't have older males like the OGs on the block to kind of like control them, they would just act out, and they didn't understand why. It was because fathers matter. So what Jay-Z was basically making that point was like, look, having a father in the house does matter, and it does matter in terms of minimizing the likelihood of a confrontation. It doesn't mean cops are good and cops are right all the time, but we know cops are not always bad all the time. I just don't. I'm not a person. Sorry, I don't believe all cops deserve to die and all cops are trying to wake up trying to kill people. I don't believe that. I believe that there are cops though who abuse authority. I believe there are cops who think they're above the law. I believe there are cops who are afraid of the black male and it causes them to react in certain ways. But I don't think it's a simple one-sided solution. So there were people that were giving Jay-Z a hard time because he was critiquing the structure of the black family, and here's the problem. Here's the issue. You have people out there that believe that fathers don't matter. You have people out there that don't want the father in the home. You have people out there that literally will say bullshit to women like, you don't need no man. You don't need no man to raise that boy. You can raise a boy to be a man all by yourself. You don't need him. Well, I'm sorry, but if somebody was coming around trying to tell me that my daughter didn't need her mother, I would say you're out of your fucking mind. Like, how the fuck could you go? You really think I could teach my daughter how to be a woman without the help of her mom? Sure, I could find a way. I could figure it out. I could slap something together with Scotch tape and Band-Aids, but I wouldn't be very good at it. Might she be going to school with her hair all crazy looking, and she wouldn't know anything about all the stuff, whatever women talk about when men ain't around. I don't know all those things. Now, sure, I could go take a class and try to learn, but at the end of the day, I'm not a woman. So I can only raise her so much. Girls need their mothers, and boys need their mothers too, right? Both children need both parents, but girls need their mothers in a way that they don't need their fathers. Boys need their fathers in a way that they don't need their mothers. And anybody who argues against that is arguing against the success of the black community, because a lot of our economic downward spiral, our wealth downward spiral, is consistently connected to broken families. I have a friend in Africa who's very wealthy, and basically she said, I don't understand how African Americans expect to ever build any wealth when their families aren't together. She said, because wealth is everything in our family. If we had no family structure, we wouldn't be rich right now. We wouldn't have anything, because families being together, it allows us to work together and get things done. So what I would say to you is this. Here's my final point. Then I'm about to get out of here. When you think about trying to achieve, Don't fall for this rugged individualism that you're taught by white society. This, like, I'm gonna do it all by myself. I don't need nobody's help. Blah 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 blah. Go back to Africa. Like, think about like the village and the group. And like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? When you decide that you have a partner, like, everybody falls in love at some point. Most of us do. I hope you get that opportunity if you haven't done it yet. When you fall in love, invest in your relationship like you're investing in your business. Like, don't just invest all your energy. People will put thousands of hours invested in a career. Like, you work harder for the white man than anybody else, right? You'll go put 100,000 hours of labor into a white business that ain't even yours. Well, how about put some energy and labor into investing in your relationship, so that if you get married or if you decide to have a baby with somebody, you can try to keep that thing together the best you can, so that you can actually build something together. Because it's hard to build things if everything's falling apart. If you're constantly, dealing with all this shit falling apart, divorces, which is a huge wealth drain. Child support is a huge wealth drain. Single motherhood is a huge wealth drain. So that means being strategic. It means not acting just based on instincts, like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck somebody because they're cute. No, you don't do that. You think, well, I'm reproducing with this person, which is a lot like starting a business with this person. Would I start a business with somebody who's a crook, a criminal, and an alcoholic, and a loser, and a lazy ass person? Would I want to start a business with somebody who ain't shit? Like, just because they got, because the sex is good? That's what people do. People will create a child with a person because the sex is good, and then be like mad because they can't, because the person is a bad partner. Like, but did you take the time to try to figure that out? So sometimes people trick you. I know they do, and I know it's hard to look in the mirror and take responsibility. And the reason it's hard for you to look in the mirror and take responsibility is because you've been hanging with these white liberals, and all they do is they sit around and tell you that nothing is your fault, that nothing is in your control, that everything that happened to you is because of the system, and that voting for the right Democrat is going to fix all of that. Once they fix the system, it's going to get better. Well, fuck that. That's dumb, because y'all been doing that shit for years, and it ain't working. It hasn't gotten you anywhere. Your community's gone backwards. Your families are broken up. Your money is dropping. You're not your kids ain't educated. You're not happy. You're finding all these problems that are out here, and none of them are getting fixed. You ain't even got your reparations, and you've been begging for that for a long time too. So what I'm just trying to say to you is, stop begging and start building. So, just start from the beginning and say, what defines a quality of life? What defines my quality of life? To give you a good place to start, a lot of people say that you can measure your quality of life in 3 key areas: health, wealth, and relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. That means your mental and physical health, your financial wealth, how financially secure are you, and your relationships. Are you good with the people that you're trying to be good with? Well, and think about that. I mean, you see your friend after 5 years, and you're like, what you been up to? And, well, if they had surgery, if they've been sick, they'd be like, oh, I've been sick. That's health, right? Oh, yeah, I was sick. I had to go to the hospital, but I'm better now, right? And then you say, well, so what are you up to now? Oh, I got this great job at Ford, blah, blah, wealth, right? So they talk about what they're doing career-wise. And then if they're dating somebody or if they're married, they'll be like, yeah, I met somebody, and man, she's great, blah, blah, blah. Or we're about to get married, blah, blah, blah. So health, wealth, and relationships. Oh, yeah, we just had the kids. But again, relationships. So most of your quality of life is measured in those 3 key areas. So what I would look at is starting with health, mental and physical health. That means thinking about what you eat, what you do with your body, also what environments you're in, right? So a lot of Black people lose their mental health because you're going to work every day with white people who hate your guts. And also your mental health is affected by things like financial stress, because you're sitting on all this debt and you don't know how you're going to pay it. You don't know how you're going to pay $100,000 in debt on a $50,000 a year job, right? Or you don't know how you're going to find a way to make more money because you don't know how to make more money. All you know how to do is go work for a white person, because that's all these white people taught you how to do when they charge you $200,000 to get your college degree. My feeling is that if they charge you $200,000 for a degree, then they should be teaching you how to start your own damn business. If they don't teach you that, then they're not teaching you how to be independent. They're teaching you how to be a high-paid slave, right? So if you don't have the ability to make money outside that system, outside of their power structure, then you are stuck. You are a slave. Wealth. We need wealth education to be the #1 priority for every Black family in America. That needs to be the second religion of Black people. How are we going to get this paper right so we can be secure? The reason Dave Chappelle was able to go out there and give the greatest stand-up comedy special in the history of all comedians, in my opinion, for its impact, or one of the greatest, is because Dave is good financially. Dave is straight money-wise. Do you think that Dave could have went on that stage? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you think Dave could have went on that stage and said the shit that he said if he was struggling for money? Do you think that Dave could have went on that stage and said the things he said if he was trying to scrape up money to pay the mortgage? Do you think Dave could have said the things that he said if he really needed that job and he's scared of being blackballed? Right? Do you think Dave could have went up on that stage and said the things he said if he had not caked out $60 million in the bank to be able to say, fuck all of y'all? I don't care what you think. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Right? Do you think that Dave could have had that kind of audacity if his money wasn't right? See, what you got to understand, this is the key. This is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. See, these liberals and the Republicans too, all these politicians are not getting to the core of the issue. The core of the issue is that 90% of your problems as a black person in America stem to the fact that you ain't got enough money to protect you when they come and get your black ass because you got out of line. They treat you like a little boy or like a little girl because they know that you can't provide for yourself without their help. But when you are financially secure, and you ain't got to be rich to be financially secure. I'm talking about just being able to pay your rent, have a place to live, be able to feed your kids. When you're secure, you have a freedom that they do not want you to have. The worst nightmare in America for white people, in my opinion, for whites that want to control blacks. I don't believe most white people sit around trying to figure out a way to oppress you. I believe they're just living their lives. But the system, there is a such thing as systematic oppression. Their biggest nightmare really is that you're going to figure out the real formula and that you're going to get away from the song and dance that's being fed to you on TV every day. They want you caught up in whether or not Donald Trump likes black people. They want you caught up in whether or not he's going to build a wall. They want you caught up in whether or not the LGBT community is being treated fairly, or if that's the new slavery, is that the new Jim Crow? Like they want you caught up in which Democrat is going to get the nomination. Like they want you caught up in all these things that won't solve the problem. What you need to be caught up in is saying, how do I make sure that me and my family are straight and secure? So that goes to health, wealth, and relationships. So that last piece, relationships, if I got a wife and we're working together and we're good with each other and we're backing each other up and helping each other build, then I'm straight. If I got kids and my kids love me, I love them. I'm preparing them for the future. I'm investing for them on a regular basis. I'm teaching them their history and how to be confident and intelligent black people. Then we're good. We're caved out. We're straight. We can live in our space and not have to care at all about who's in the White House, because we living good, we eating good, we're in a nice house, we got plenty of food. Everybody's nobody has to go work for a racist white person every day, right? That's what you want to aim for. That is your panacea. That is your success. So when people say, "Are you going to vote?" I tell them no, but I don't tell other people not to vote. They say, "Are you going to vote Democrat or are you going to vote Republican?" I'm like, well, I'm not going to vote either. I'm voting for black people. I'm voting for black people. So the same way voting requires you to get up and go down to the ballot box and put a ballot into the box, and it requires this energy and effort you must put forward in order to achieve a specific agenda. Well, I take my energy and I say, instead of taking that energy to go down and put a piece of paper in a ballot box, I'm going to take that energy and go and read a book. I'm going to take that energy and go and talk to the people that are on my team, the people that love me. I'm going to go and put that energy into filling out the paperwork for an LLC so that I can get this business off the ground, so that I can be financially secure, so I don't have to worry about whether or not you choose to give me a job. I can create a job of my own, right? So teach this to your kids. Again, I'm not telling you not to vote and all this other stuff. I'm just telling you that these people, I think it actually infuriates me, because the vast majority of your community is lost because they're following you're literally the same people who oppressed you for 400 years are telling you what to do, and then you wonder why you remain oppressed. It's because they're fooling you with the rope-a-dope, with the okey-doke, and they got you run around like little hamsters on a wheel, and you're putting all this emotional energy into things that don't matter. If you put emotional energy into something, just always stop and ask yourself, if this works out for me, is this really going to change my life? What really matters in my life every day? And is this going to, if Trump doesn't get reelected, is that going to change my life? If so, how? If if the Democrats pass a law about using the genders using bathrooms, or if Trump doesn't build the wall or builds a wall, is that going to change my life? If so, how? Right. So figure out the areas that really matter for you. And then that's where you put your energy. I'm going to tell you like this, the way I live my life on a daily basis, I kid you not, I swear to God, this is what I do. I don't really answer my phone. 90% of the time, I don't answer my phone. Why? Well, because a lot of the conversations aren't going to get me where I would need to get to. They're not going to help me to achieve the things that matter to me. It's going to be just me running my mouth and getting exhausted, and then nothing happens, nothing changes. The things I put my time into, my energy into, and my money into tend to be things where I can specifically and clearly see, independent of anybody else's opinion, whether that thing is going to get me where I need to get to. Okay, my goal is to have a better relationship with my woman, so I'm about to go running with my woman right now because it's going to get me in shape for this marathon, and it's going to get me closer to my woman. That matters to me. I'm going to talk to my mother today because that's going to get me a closer relationship with my mother. I'm going to have a meeting today with my son to talk about business because we're trying to build something up economically, right? So health, wealth, and relationships. All those actions I just described to you fit into those categories. Running for the marathon, that means I have better health. Talking to my son about the business, that means we have better wealth. Hanging out with my woman means I have better relationships, and talking to my son gives me a better, and my mother gives me a better relationship. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like simplify your life and figure out how to get off the grid and stop wasting time on the things that don't actually matter. Because these people out here, these crazy people out here got you thinking that fathers don't matter, and that if what you think aligns with what a Republican thinks, that somehow it must be wrong, or whatever. Like this idea of putting black people in a box. In fact, the term I use is black in a box. Black in a box means that you got black people that really think that being black means you must always think like the Democrats, or in that if you think like a Republican, you're not really being black. You're betraying the black community. So I'm like, I'm not a black in a box. You're not gonna put me in a box. So you can take your black in a box ass on somewhere, because I'm going to look for the truth. So if a Republican happens to agree with me in that moment, then good. If he's the only motherfucker in the room who says that fathers do matter, then I'm going to be like, I agree with him. I think daddies matter. I had a dad. It was very important to me, right? If the Democrats in the room are the ones who agree with me when I say, yeah, we should go back and help the poor, then I'm going to agree with the liberal, right? So stop being a black in a box and be free, be mentally free. That's what you want to aim for. So anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you for being patient with me in this broadly, discussed kind of dialogue. I know that we didn't talk as much specifically about the Jay-Z thing, but I felt like there were issues that kind of had to be fleshed out. And I hope that this was helpful to some of you in terms of thinking for yourself. That's what you got to do. You got to think for yourself. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Hit the thumbs up button before you go. Hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention, September 27th in Houston. So go to allblacknationalconvention.com, get your tickets. The discounted hotel rooms, the discount will only last for another 5 days. So if you want to stay in the same hotel with us, go ahead and call the hotel and get your room set up now. And also, don't forget, I'll be in New York the weekend of October 27th. So if you want to come to that investment seminar I'm going to do in New York, where we're going to all come in and everybody, all the students get a padfolio like this, and you sit and you take notes. And I basically give you the greatest series of lectures that you've ever had in your life on finances. By the time you walk out of there, investing will be easy for you. It should not scare you. I know this stuff extremely well. I can help you elevate your game and get to where you want to get to. I have a faith in that, and I know I can do this. I've done it a million times, and I can do it for you too. So feel free to check it out. It's drboycenewyork.com, drboycenewyork.com. And if you want to check out our financial workbooks and flashcards for kids, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Peace.